Ever get that feeling? Like you're in a crowded room, people everywhere, but you still feel totally alone.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Turns out it's not just us, right?
Right.
It's like there's this whole loneliness epidemic happening all over America.
It's a real epidemic, yeah.
And that's what we're diving into today. We've got this super interesting article from The Atlantic. It's called The Antisocial Century.
Okay, I have heard of that one.
And we're going to kind of weave in some ideas from Relational Life Therapy too, see if we can, figure out what's going on here and maybe what we could do about it.
Sounds good to me. A lot of people are feeling this, I think, but not a lot of folks are talking about it,
Exactly. And one thing that really jumped out at me from that Atlantic article was how it's not just a post-COVID thing.
Right.
Yeah. Like we all kind of went through that weird time where we were forced to be apart.
Yeah.
But this was already brewing for a long time, even before all that.
Interesting. I wonder what they say is causing it.
Well, they talk about how the way we work has changed, Like, think about it. How often do we just bump into people at the office and chat by the water cooler anymore?
Not as much, that's for sure. Especially with so many people working remotely now.
Right. And those little moments, they add up, It's like we're slowly losing all those tiny chances to connect throughout the day.
It's true. And we're losing those little chances to practice, just basic social skills like small talk.
The casual conversation. Yeah. But it's important, right?
Totally. I mean, think about it. If we can't even handle those little interactions, how are we supposed to build and manage those bigger, more complicated relationships?
Makes sense. And the article goes even deeper, It's like, it's not just about feeling lonely, it's about how this impacts us on a mental and emotional level.
Right. It goes way beyond just feeling a bit sad or something.
They actually cite studies linking loneliness to anxiety, depression, even a decline in how well our brains work.
Wow. So it really is serious stuff. I guess it shows how much we as humans really need that connection with other people.
We're wired for it, right?
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, okay? So the article, it connects this whole loneliness thing to, get this, the rise of political polarization.
Whoa, okay. How do they connect those two?
They say that when we're more isolated, we're more likely to fall for extreme ideas and stuff.
Interesting. We're more vulnerable when we're lonely.
Exactly. It's like we retreat into these echo chambers, both online and offline, surrounded by people who all think the same way.
Yeah. The article mentions how when people feel disconnected from their communities, they go searching for that sense of belonging online.
Right. But those online spaces, they can be full of misinformation and extreme views.
Definitely. And then that just pushes people further apart, creates more distrust and division.
It's like a vicious cycle. So it makes you wonder, if we were all a bit more connected in our everyday lives, maybe we wouldn't be so quick to jump into those echo chambers.
Yeah, good point. Maybe we'd be more open to hearing different perspectives, having real conversations.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem, right? This loneliness epidemic, it's real, it's impacting us in some pretty serious ways. But the good news is there are ways to combat it.
That's what I was thinking, what can we actually do about this?
And that's where this Relational Life Therapy, RLT, comes in. Have you heard of that?
I've heard the term, but I don't really know much about it.
So basically, it gives you these practical tools for building stronger relationships.
Okay, sounds promising. So, how does it actually work? What do you do?
Well, imagine, you're looking at a snapshot of your own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're using RLT to kind of analyze it. So you might notice, for example, that you've been turning down more social invitations lately. Or maybe you have trouble really opening up to people.
Yeah, I can see that. You start to see patterns in your own behavior.
Exactly. And RLT helps you understand why you might be doing those things. And then it gives you tools to change those patterns.
So it's not just about slapping a Band-Aid on the problem. It's about going deeper, figuring out the root cause.
Right. And it's about learning those essential skills for building healthy relationships.
Okay. What kind of skills?
Like communication, really listening to people, empathy, understanding how other people feel, and conflict resolution, learning how to disagree with someone without totally blowing things up.
All that good stuff that we need, but nobody really teaches us.
Right. It's we're so busy with our own lives, our own goals, that we forget how much we need each other.
And that's a big part of RLT, right? It challenges that whole individualistic mindset.
Yeah.
It's not just about me. It's about understanding that we're all interconnected.
We do better when we work together, support each other.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what can our listeners actually do, today, to start putting this RLT stuff into practice? Got any tips?
First thing is just being mindful, Pay attention to yourself. Where are you isolating yourself? What little things could you do to connect more? Like what, specifically?
Well, it could be anything, really. Maybe join a club, like a book club or something, or volunteer somewhere, help out in your community.
I like that. Get out there, meet new people.
Or even just smaller stuff. Strike up a conversation with the cashier at the grocery store. Just little things to get those social muscles working.
It's a good reminder that those small moments, they really do make a difference.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming change. Just start small, be consistent, and build from there.
Little by little.
And remember, it's not just about you, right? When you make those connections, it creates a ripple effect.
I like that. How so?
Well, you're not just combating your own loneliness. You're helping to create a kinder, more understanding world. A little bit at a time.
That's powerful. So maybe, just maybe, by strengthening our own connections, we can actually start to heal some of those bigger divisions in society.
Maybe so. It's definitely something to think about.
Thanks for diving into this with me. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little more hopeful, a little more connected already.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
And to all our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, maybe even inspired you to reach out and connect with someone today. You never know what kind of ripple effect you might create.